The most purchased top tier PC on this channel last year out of all of the gaming PCs that I reviewed was the predecessor to this one that I have here today. Now with the world's best gaming GPU, the 5090, and the best gaming CPU, the 9800 X3D. On paper, it seems like it should be incredible, but we're going to take you through our full experience with the 5090 and 5080 version of this PC to help you decide if it's right for you in this 100% honest review of the Corsair Vengeance a7500. I'm going to quickly take you through the unboxing and what's included, gaming and creator benchmarks, design and build quality, the internals, thermals, fan noise, overall ease of use, pricing breakdowns and comparing its price to performance ratio against the competition, and my overall top likes and dislikes. If you decide against this PC after anything that I say in this video, just keep watching because I'm also going to be sharing with you some alternative PCs that I recommend for every budget. I'll include links down below for all the products that I mentioned, as well as tag directly on this video or using a QR code if you're watching on a TV. I guarantee that by the end of this video, you will know if this PC is right for you or not. But if you still have any questions after watching this entire video, just shoot me a comment, and if you're publicly subscribed, I guarantee a personal response. All right, now let's rewind back into the past real quick and check out what came in the box. I was actually really excited about this one until...
Really, UPS?
Right off the bat, at least from a shipping standpoint, not looking good. Inside the box, we've got your typical obvious instructions. Then after removing that, I already noticed an issue that I've not seen before. The entire front piece of the water block was popped off. How can a PC get dropped that hard? Inside, we've got this small box with some SATA cables for any extra hard drives that you might want to add, smaller Corsair Type 5 PCIe cables, a USB to fan or RGB adapter, more SATA, MSI Wi-Fi antenna, an MSI M.2 clip removal tool, your very beefy power cable, an oh so kind thank you for choosing Corsair card, and a warranty guide. Yep, you can hear the front part of that water block just clanking around in there somewhere. I don't know what happened, but even with the thick foam around the feet, two of them were shattered and one side even bent the corner of the frame. The back panel actually fell off and I couldn't even get it to snap back on due to warping. This PC was built with Corsair's 3500X mid-tower case, which is for sure an upgrade, at least style-wise, compared to the previous version, the i7500. A bit beefier than that one, though, at about 20 inches tall, 9.5 inches wide, 17.75 inches deep, and weighs about 35 pounds. Due to high demand, it seems like a lot of these PC cases are actually moving towards this panoramic front-to-back glass panel design. Now, instead of ventilation and fans on the front, like the i7500, that's all been pushed to the other side. So 3 120mm intake fans back here, one exhaust on the back, and two more at the top. These top two fans are actually part of our 240mm AIO liquid cooling system for the CPU. And for those of you new to PC gaming, this is the most important part of keeping your CPU cool. I do find it kind of odd that we're still only using a 240 when we have plenty of room for a 360 at the top. Most top tier gaming PCs have a 360 with 3 fans to really prioritize keeping temperatures as low as possible. We'll show you how all this translated to thermals here in a sec. To the right of our CPU, we've got our Corsair Vengeance RGB DDR5 RAM at 6400 MHz, 2 sticks of 32 GB for a total of 64. While most games demand much less, often no more than 16 GB, that extra RAM could be a game changer for demanding tasks like 4K editing, motion graphics work, or 3D modeling and animation. And underneath the CPU, behind this giant metal heatsink, they give you a 2TB Corsair MP700 Elite SSD, which is our main drive that our operating system is installed on. And when we tested it, this one had insane speeds of 10,000 megabytes per second read and about 9,000 write. That's pretty fast. The star of the show, though, and the most expensive piece by far, our 5090 GPU. This one, a Gigabyte OC 5090, which as of right now costs about $3,000 by itself. This is actually the exact same 5090 that we got in the Corsair Vengeance A5100, so it's safe to assume if you purchase this PC, that's most likely what you're going to get. I do appreciate the added GPU support bracket in this PC, though. That A i5100 did not have that with this GPU. Behind the GPU, you can see that Corsair included an MSI Pro X870P Wi-Fi motherboard for this build. We do have 3 more full-length PCIe slots back here, but unfortunately, only the bottom one is accessible with this massive GPU back here. This build also came with another 2TB SSD, an MP600 Core XT, but this one with much lower speeds at about 3000 megabytes per second read and write. And then you get one more extra SSD slot next to that if you want to add more in the future. And then swinging around to the back and removing the back panel, we've got some pretty decent cable management, 2 bays for additional 2.5-inch SATA SSDs, and then in the bottom right corner, a 1200 watt Corsair RM1200X Shift modular power supply. For the ports on the top, we've got a power button, 2 USB-A's and 1 USB-C, a headphone microphone combo jack, and a reset button. On the back, flash BIOS and clear CMOS buttons, an HDMI port, 8 more USB-A's and 2 more USB-C's, the top one with insane speeds of 40 gigabits per second, a 5G Ethernet port, connectors for your Wi-Fi 7 antennas, microphone line out and line in. And on the back of our 5090 GPU, 1 HDMI and 3 display ports. So for the software, the main program that you normally use with Corsair Vengeance PCs is the IQ app, but I could not get the fans to show up in here for this PC, no matter how many times I reinstalled it. The only thing that this app could see and control for this PC was the RAM. It did still show the real-time stats for the CPU and GPU in the dashboard though. In order to control all the fans and RGB lighting, I had to use Mystic Light within the MSI Center app. I was able to control the fan profiles in here as well. If you want to dive deeper and overclock or fine-tune your settings though, there's plenty of options within the BIOS for this motherboard to do all of that. When it came to the fan noise, these were my results after testing each of the main fan profiles in a somewhat quieter than normal room. In quiet mode, it was about 41.4 decibels. And when moving up to extreme mode, it brought the fan noise up to about 46.5 decibels. For some reason, that fan profile set the fans to very aggressive RPMs, and that's why it was a little louder than we expected. Setting the fan profile to balanced mode, though, brought the fan noise down significantly to only about 42 decibels. And this actually had no noticeable effect on performance. And this noise level put it at one of the quietest fans during intense gaming that we've tested yet. Now for the thermals of this PC, if you check out our thermal imaging time-lapse from when the computer is off to when it's in full-on gaming mode for an extended period of time, you'll notice that just like most gaming PCs, heat does tend to build up against the glass near the GPU. And when we open up the glass panel, you can really see in detail what's going on since the side of the 5090 GPU does give off quite a bit of heat. Thankfully, most of that heat does effectively get pushed out the back and top exhaust fans though. And this is a close-up of the GPU connectors after pushing about 600 watts for an extended period of time. You can see that this cable is getting nowhere near that 150 degrees Celsius those couple of cases on Reddit had. The majority of my thermal testing was spent in actual gameplay though. These were the CPU temperatures for several different games at 1080p for both the 5080 and 5090 combos. Compared to the other recent top tier pre-builds with similar specs, you can see that the 5090 combo was a little hotter on average than the others. And then averaging all 1080p gaming temperatures data together and comparing this computer next to many of the other pre-builds that we've reviewed, you can see that overall it was still higher than average. But I guess at least it was a cooler CPU than the Intel i9 versions with 4090s from last year. So basically a much more powerful CPU and GPU, but lower temperatures. Then moving up to our average 4K gaming temperature tests, I organized this chart by the GPU because high resolution gaming eases up on the CPU and puts a lot more pressure on the GPU. This shows the GPU in the 5090 version of this PC to run about as hot as last year's average 4090 PCs. Kind of impressive considering how much power is run through these new 5090s. Then narrowing it down a little bit to just current gen top tier pre-builds, you can see that so far it's the second coolest 5090 that we've seen in a pre-build. Now for the performance and gaming benchmarks, and up next, the most important part of this review, the price to performance ratios. You might be a little disappointed with these first creative benchmarks, but trust me, just wait until we get to the gaming section. For Cinebench R23, which simulates its 3D rendering power, we got a multi-core score of about 23,000, and putting it up next to all the others, you can see that this is about the same CPU rendering performance as last-gen Intel i7 PCs. If you are a creator looking for the best overall multi-core rendering performance, performance, the 285K and that Corsair Vengeance i8300 or the Alienware Area 51 that we just reviewed are going to be the best bet for that. Another very helpful test for 3D renderers is the V-Ray benchmark. As you probably expected, it did very poorly here as well compared to current and previous gen Intel CPUs. Although technically the best performing 9800X3D that we've seen in a pre-built so far. This is a CPU-based rendering test that demonstrates how well a PC can handle the more advanced realistic rendering that takes a lot longer to calculate. The GPU rendering score, though, is for those of you who are doing a lot of high polygon 3D modeling or real-time viewport rendering and lighting. And this chart right here shows how incredibly powerful the 5090 GPU in this PC is. Actually, the best performing GPU that we've seen for this test. Our Adobe Premiere benchmark wasn't too exciting though, with a score of only 15,711. So I would not use this PC if you're only using it for editing or motion graphics work. And as you can imagine, the Corsair Vengeance i8300 and the Alienware Area 51 were at the top with their Intel 285K CPUs. For 3D Mark, which is a great benchmark used to determine a computer's overall gameability, you can see that the 5090 version of this PC was right there at the top next to the Corsair Vengeance i300. The graphics score in this PC was the highest we've ever seen though. Actual gaming benchmarks are probably what you guys care the most about though. These are the average FPS results that we got for several games at their highest preset settings at 1080p for both the 5080 and 5090 versions that we tested. Very impressive overall. Then putting its overall average gaming FPS up next to many of the other recent pre-built PCs, you can see how great it really did. Almost the best we've ever seen at this resolution. The only one just barely above it is the much more expensive Corsair Vengeance a5100. And then taking those averages and putting them up next to many of the other past gaming PCs from last gen, this gives us an even better overall perspective on how this PC stacks up against the competition. At this resolution with this CPU and GPU combination, it's miles ahead of everything else. Then at 1440p, as we start to rely more on the power of the GPU, you can see that the 5090 version of this PC is actually the best performer that we've ever seen with the highest average FPS. Even more so with 4K gaming, as you can see with this chart. And these are the more specific FPS for each game at 4K at the highest graphic presets for both the 5080 and 5090 versions of this PC. Now, as far as factoring the price to performance of this PC, right now at the time of this recording, this PC is going to cost you $3,500 for the 5080 version and $5,800 for the 5090 version. I know that sounds like a lot, but it was actually $900 more than that just last month. So at least things are starting to come back down. As you can see in the charts, the 5080 version of this a7500 has pretty decent price to performance ratios at 1080p and 1440p, and the 5090 version of this PC actually the best value at 1080p and almost the best at 1440p. Only because it's currently on sale as of this recording, the Alienware Area 51 just barely beat it at 1440p. And then at 4K, the 5090 version again came in just behind the Area 51. One thing to keep in mind with Corsair Vengeance PCs though, is that you also get double the warranty of other gaming PCs at 2 years versus 1 year, and double the return period at 60 days versus 30. Comparing the price of this PC with other pre-builts that also have the newest generation of GPUs and CPUs, you can see that again it's about average for the 5080 version, but one of the least expensive PCs with 9800X3D CPUs and 5090 GPUs. Now, if you're understandably at an entirely different price point, these are my recommendations for every budget. I'll also include links down below in the comments and description for all of them, as well as tag directly on this video or using a QR code if you're watching on a TV. If your budget is under $5,000, then one of the best deals right now for a top tier pre-built PC with a 5090 is the Alienware Area 51 that I just recently reviewed. As you saw in the charts, it was the best bang for your buck 5090 that I've tested so far at 4K. Yes, it does have the weaker Intel 285K CPU, but if you plan to game at 4K, that CPU is not going to hold you back that much because it's more about the GPU at that resolution. Honestly, you're wasting that 5090 if you're not going to game at 4K. Just keep in mind that the Alienware Area 51 is not as easily upgradable as the Corsair Vengeance PC that we just reviewed today. Replacing the motherboard also requires replacing the power supply as well, since they still use some weird proprietary power supply connectors. Closer to $3,000, and I would get this Skytech King 95 with the 9800X3D and 5080 GPU. I really liked this one when I reviewed it, and this one that I'm recommending today is about 3 times faster than that one. If you like the peace of mind of a 2-year warranty and extended return period, then if I were you, I'd stick with the 5080 version of this Vengeance a7500 that I just reviewed today for $3,500. If you need to be closer to $2,000, then your best bet would definitely be that AVGPC Whirlwind that I just recently reviewed with AMD's new 9070 XT GPU. As more of a budget-friendly PC, it's not the fastest overall by any means, but this one actually had the absolute best best price to performance ratio that we've ever seen at every resolution. It's in really high demand right now, so if it goes back out of stock, then I would get this Skytech Omega, also with AMD's new 9070 XT GPU, as well as a 7800 X3D CPU. This one is going to perform just slightly better than that AVGPC, it's just a little bit more expensive. If you absolutely have to be under $1,000, or you're just now getting into gaming PCs, and you want your graphics to at least match that of a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, then a semi-decent option would be this ABS Cyclone Aqua for about $900. That's the bare minimum that I'd recommend for semi-decent graphic settings though. Overall, my favorite things about this PC are its design, its gaming performance, and the generous 2-year warranty. And my least favorite things about this PC are its performance with rendering and creative applications, and the fact that it's one of the only top-tier pre-builts that only uses a 240mm AIO for the CPU, versus a 360 like most of the others. I don't think the CPU temperatures would have been hotter than average if it wasn't for that. Now, if you do decide to purchase this PC or any of the others that I mentioned, then please remember to use my affiliate links in the comments and description below, or tag directly on this video, or using a QR code if you're watching on a TV, as I get a small commission at no cost to you for every single purchase made. And it's actually a major factor in keeping this channel going and getting better and better for you. I'd also like to thank all of my members for their monthly support of this channel. And remember to check out this PC's raw benchmarks video with all of our actual gameplay with detailed live stats and exact graphics settings used. Also, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe with notifications turned on to stay up to date with all of my latest tech and gaming PCs. PC gaming is awesome, but trust me, please do not let it consume your life. What's helped me mentally is getting outside, eating healthy, staying active, and spending more time with my family. Also, studies have shown that reading the Bible 4 times a week has been shown to massively boost your mental health, and I can vouch for that. And if you are a little skeptical about the Bible, then check out the book or documentary, The Case for Christ.